We are grateful, Lord. We are grateful. This seem very busy. Hello, everyone. Waiting for my guests. Hello, Ife. How are you? We are grateful. So just let me put the what's it called? Hello, Affiong. How are you? Hello, Ife. Hello, Affiong. Okay. There seems to be a form of update. Affiong, you've even sent me a review yourself. Pin comment. Okay. I accepted your request. Hello, I'm a blessing. Okay.
Yes, we are here. Oh, no drama. Oh, Father Lord, I thank you. Don't laugh, don't laugh. Oh. Father Lord, I thank you. Today, today I am a computer user, not lizard.
Okay, well, thank God.
Oh my God, I should never do this. My room is a bit dark. That's why it's extra light.
Okay. Although your picture is still not very clear, but it doesn't even matter. At least we can hear you clearly. At least it's not raining. Welcome everyone that has joined us. Thank you for joining us. So okay. Was the network like this when you did the test, or do you want to check the network? Hello. Wow.
No, I'm actually using one that is working. That's why the other one is the Wala.
Okay.
So
Whether we see your
at least this
face,
one
whether we
works
see your
better.
face or not, we're going to go ahead today. So
And no,
and
my face
you know
must be
we'll take
seen.
the.
After all this touching up, how would they not see?
I know the
Hey,
makeup
Jesus.
because your face is looking so radiant. Because
Uh-huh.
we can still see it. It's slightly blurred. I don't know if you can see what we can see. Um, Diablo 616, thank you. We can see you waving. Wow has joined us. So can you speak, Staffy? Yeah, but I think it's more of your network because if I'm looking at mine from here, it's actually very clear. But your face is yeah, your face is blurred. Okay. Can you tell us, can we have comments from the viewers? What are you saying? Is my guest clear or is she not clear? Is the UU network, Abby? We can hear you clearly. It's just that we can hear you clearly. Can you hear us? Okay. Okay. Are you trying to see if you can change this? We can hear you. Okay, you've frozen now. Okay. So sorry, just bear with us because I think she's changing her network. So hopefully she would come back. We really um we really are having exciting times with the network in Oyo. I don't think we've had any interviews that we've had such wonderful sessions in terms of the network. Can anybody comment? I want to just make sure that there's still someone there. Ife, are you there? Uh, just to make sure that we're still there. So just to see if you can hear me. Okay. So my guess is left. Is anyone there? Okay, so you, at least you can hear me. Video is frozen. Okay, okay. So I know it's okay with me. Yeah, it's kicked you out. So we can't see you. Okay, first then. So is this only you that is there, Ife? I think we're down to one person, so I don't know if it's just me that is here. Uh, well, let's let Mrs. J joined. Hello, Mrs. J. Hello, ma'am. Supposed to be in. Okay, so let me fill your request. Go live film. So we're just going to see.
Ah,
Okay,
I had to change network just now. Now, wow,
if
it is well
froze.
with Nigeria. I was, the school screen just froze and nothing was moving. I
Yeah,
was
because we couldn't see
running
you at
around
all.
and
We
it
couldn't
is
see you
well.
at all. Okay,
Ah,
even this one, at least it's a bit better, but it's still a bit blurred. But we'll just continue. Okay. So one
don't tell
welcome to
if I
everyone.
move again
Don't move, oh,
before
please.
the
Just
village
stay.
people in this
Just
area will decide to.
don't worry. Just stay where you are. Hopefully, it won't freeze again because I can see because it's frozen again and it's
Okay.
come back. So it keeps going in and out. So we're just going to start and see where we can get to. So welcome everyone that has joined
Okay.
us. Welcome Ellie Z. Welcome our man, our Aminat. Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Okay, so just bear with us. We've been having network dropping and coming back, so it's been wonderful. So we're just gonna go into the session now. So warm welcome to my guest, Affiong. I call her Sis Affiong. So welcome. So we started last week and we had issues with the network. So we're just going to go ahead and we believe that, others will join us and if not, people will watch afterwards. So it's just really about blessing people. And we believe that you have an amazing story. That's why we had so much challenges. So we're not going to worry about that. So, oh, now it's really nice and clear. Excellent. So you're from Uyo. So we have to start all over again, obviously. So you're from, well, you live in Uyo, and I think last week you were telling us, about a bit about your background, where you lived and all that. So if you can start off from there for us, telling us a bit about yourself, your
Okay.
background, where you schooled, and your siblings.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Ah, it's good to be back. Last week was crazy, but I just want to testify. Funny enough, it rained yesterday heavily.
Really?
So I think that was God putting any obstacle out
Out
of the way.
of the
And
way,
then
yeah.
funny today again, usually we don't have light around this time. The last week I had to turn on my gen. So but around 6 p.m. or thereabouts, suddenly PHED visited us and hey, there's light, see my fan, it's
Oh,
turning.
wow.
So
Excellent.
I just know that God went ahead,
Mhm.
has gone ahead of this particular session, and so he's just put things in place.
Thank you,
Enough of
Lord.
the drama.
Thank
So
you,
I
Lord.
just want to say that
Thank you. And thank
because
you for sharing that because God is really
so
mindful, isn't He?
yes, so
Mm.
yes, because I see God's hand.
Mhm.
And I just want to say that, talking about myself, I am somebody that I know my life is orchestrated by the divine. So I don't see anything as, oh, they say this one happened, this one. No, for me, I just every time I look back, I see that God has been taking me through a particular path. I don't
Mm.
know why, but I just know that from the moment
Okay, it's frozen again. Okay, so it's frozen. We're waiting for it to come back. Mm. It froze for about a minute, but it's back now. Can you hear us, Affiong? You keep going in and out.
I was still talking, but you were frozen.
We can't hear you. We've not heard you for a while. Good evening, Mama J. Bless you, ma'am. Okay, it's coming back again. We've lost. Yes, we didn't hear you for about. Yes, we can hear you now. We didn't hear you for about a minute or two. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I think the problem is
Networking,
with
oh
my
no, is
own
wonderful.
wahala. So
Yeah,
indeed,
if
thank
your
you.
network is trying
Network is
itself.
trying itself. It can be, we know because it's a problem. So
Oh,
Frankie, welcome. It's a real problem. So that's the host
okay.
of
So
that's
to
the
be honest, we
coordinator
didn't
for Bold
hear.
TV. She's the one who coordinates Bold TV. We spoke about that. So she knows what network can do. We all know what it can do. It can be
Oh, okay.
crazy. Mm.
So she's the one that
Sometimes
coordinates
it
what?
messes. Bold
What does she
TV.
coordinate?
I told you about the the disability women with disabilities program we usually host
Yeah,
every Saturday. We put
yes,
out videos about issues surrounding women with this. Yes, so she
yes.
is the coordinator for that. So
Oh,
we know how
bless.
network can be.
Oh,
It can be nasty,
wow. Wow,
but we
wow, wow,
we survive. We keep going. So
wow.
let me just
Yes.
rush through so we can move on while the network is behaving itself. So I
Please
was born in my
do.
hometown in Rio, and
Mm,
but I grew up. My parents were based in Calabar. I grew up my
okay.
whole life, primary, all the different levels of education, primary, secondary, university was in Calabar, Cross River
Mm,
State. I
mm,
have two siblings.
okay.
I'm the first child.
Oh, wow.
I'm the first child.
Wow.
I have two siblings, a brother and a sister in the
So
same
she
place.
has two
And
siblings. Okay.
yes, and while growing up, typical childhood, it was fun, but it also had its own share of wahala. We weren't very
Like most of
comfortable.
us do.
Uh, we weren't very comfortable, but well, we got through, and
Mm,
we were able to get at least the basics. And
okay.
that's we're taught growing up. Most of my mom focused mostly on teaching us how to be independent, how to
Mm,
everybody learn how to do things for yourself.
mm.
She would keep hammering, the good old story about, especially for the girls, is this how you will do in your husband's house? Is this how you will do it? You don't know how to cook, you don't know how will you do in your husband's house? But somehow, the husband's house sermon helped us to learn some things. We had no choice. And
And do you know is those are the conditions of worth and the kind of environment that we grew up in, in terms
mm,
of how our mind is set, you
mm,
know. And then that's why at times if you then grow up, if for whatever reason, you don't you're not married, or maybe you get married, you get separated, again that
mm,
inadequacy comes up, because and that's again what our community uses to
to
as a yardstick
judge
or
to judge your,
KPI to
yes,
determine
womanhood.
exactly Exactly. Exactly. To judge whether we're successful or to judge whether we've lived a fulfilled life. We use those
Mm,
criteria again based on our social beliefs that you have to be married, and you have to so taking care of your husband, taking care of a home, taking care for all that. And
mm,
then where does
mm.
that put someone that doesn't have all those things, that we still believe that defines who we are. Hello, Thomas. Nice to see you. Thank you for
So,
joining.
so
Okay,
most
go
of
on.
those things, it was that, and we learned how to be independent. And like I said last week, yes, even though we're taught to be independent, we still had, that I call it CIA parenting, where everything must be known. You must report your.
Okay, what's TIA parenting? Is there an acronym for something? Mm. Oh, CIA. Okay, sorry. I thought you said TIA. Oh, yes, yes, yes. CIA. Yes. It's true. CIA parenting. Mm. Okay, you've gone off again. Can you hear us, Fifi? Now I'm going to be calling you Fifi now that I know that that's what most of your people call you. Let's know when you're back. Sorry, we're finding it lovely with our video. Okay, you back?
Now,
I
can you
still
hear
can't
me?
hear you.
Uh,
Yeah, we've lost sound again. Okay. I think what we're just going to do is if you just go onto your story so that at least whatever we can guess in before. So just give us a story about how you got into the state
okay.
in which you then, because you weren't actually born with the disability. The disability
Yes.
was due to an accident. If you tell us how you actually got there and found yourself with a disability. Oh, wow, my mom has just joined. Hello, mother. Nice to have you on. So please go on.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes, we can hear you now, at least for now.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I that was around 2005. Prior to that, I went for I had my call up to serve Nigeria NYSC. That was 2004, and September reported to camp, went through the 3 weeks training, and then went to where I was posted to. That was in Kogi State. I was posted to Kogi State,
Okay.
and I was my letters. I was supposed to serve in the police clinic there in the capital, Lokoja. So I reported there. When I was before, I think I hadn't been accepted yet, but I needed to go home.
Okay, we've lost her again. We haven't lost her. We've lost. We've lost. Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear anymore.
Uh,
Okay, you're back now.
okay. Okay. So can you hear me now?
We can hear
Can
you
you
now,
hear
although
me?
we can't see you.
Okay.
We can hear you, but we can't see you anymore. But go on.
Okay. Okay. So I went for youth service, and I had to go, went home briefly, came back with my stuff to like settle in. And then after that, in December, was break. And when I went for the Christmas break, I traveled home in December. And then January 2005, I was returning. I was supposed to return. I got a message that I was supposed to do the monthly clearance at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
That was for January, was supposed to be that first week. So I had to get back to Lokoja before the deadline so that, at least Alawi will blow. So I now traveled. I left after the New Year celebrations. I left home on the 4th on my way back to Lokoja. So I went through Onitsha, and then they would go through Delta and Edo State before getting to Kogi State. So it was when we, got to Delta State, I took a bus. So when we got to Delta State, that the accident happened. I got to Delta State and, I just remember just before the accident happened, what I remember, I think I dozed off. I must have slept off, and then I was seated behind the driver. And then I think when the driver lost control of the vehicle, I woke up briefly. And I think I recall the vehicle swaying and, just, shaking. And then when I now come, find I'm conscious again, I find myself lying on the ground some distance away. That's, like the bus had, when I looked to my side, I found that the bus was lying on its side, part of its, two tires in the gutter. So it had
You
some
keep
people were
coming in and
seated,
out,
but
so it's breaking.
okay. Can you hear me now? Is
Okay,
it
it's come back
better?
now. Yeah. So the bus was overloaded. The bus had turned white.
Yes, it
Did
was.
you say once
Yes,
or
it was had
twice?
overturned. It had overturned. It was on its side. So some people, I saw some of the passengers seated on the roadside. They were, people had a few bruises. But I was lying. I think I fell out of the bus over the gutter. I must have rolled all the way because there was a clearing near that area. And then beyond that, there was, wooded area, like dark, bushy area. So I was just lying at the end of the clearing. They must have
So
rolled.
you must have been thrown out of the bus. So were you thrown out of the bus? Mm. Wow. Oh, yeah. Mm. That's true. We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't really see you. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, looks like that's affected our connection. We can hear you. Yeah, because we can see it's gone.
Light has been taken. So let me. So I was lying down somewhere, just in a clearing, and I noticed the sun was really high. My eyes, when I opened my eyes, I was looking directly at the sun, and I noticed that people had, some people that were passers-by had stopped to help some of the passengers. So I was just lying there while they were trying to assist some people. Then the road safety people were there. Some officers from road safety, they had parked their vehicle and come to assist. So I was just lying down. And then later on, the first thing I noticed was that I couldn't feel my legs. I was just lying there. My legs were stretched out, but I couldn't feel anything. It felt like, I didn't have legs. And I was like, what's happening? And then the next thing was the pain. That's when the pain came. I felt a very sharp pain in my shoulder, in my left shoulder, and I felt excruciating pain in my waist. And I was wondering, no, but when I didn't feel my legs, I just knew what had happened. I just like, uh, uh, this
Wow.
has happened. And I don't know, at that time, my brain did not really, in fact, I was just thinking of how do I get away from here? How do I move from here? And I was just lying there as the reality was setting in. And,
Did you
I
panic? Were
just,
you scared? Did you, I'm just
yeah,
thinking.
yes, there was some anxiety, but at that particular point in time, maybe it didn't really sink
Mm,
in. So I wasn't
mm,
like, afraid. I
yeah.
wasn't, panicking. All I was thinking of was how I could be moved from there, because
Mm.
the bus had started leaking fuel, and I didn't
Oh,
want a
wow.
situation where it would become more
Yeah,
serious.
explosive.
So I was just
Mm,
kind of I was in survival mode.
mm,
So
mm,
as
mm.
I was lying there,
Did
some
anybody
men
pass?
approached me.
Did anybody in the
Yes,
accident
I
pass away?
later learned
Do you
that a
know?
young man who was sit. Yes, I later learned a young man who sat in front passed on. He was the only
Wow.
casualty from that accident.
Wow.
So
Mm.
every other person just had few bruises, and they just they were treated and left. But my case was more serious. So I was just lying there, and then a few of the young men who came to assist walked up to me, and because I didn't have visible injuries, I didn't have any bruises on my
Mm,
body. The first thing they said,
mm.
"Ah, madam, why are you lying down? Get up, let's get up and move. Don't stay here. Oh, you see the way that bus is. Come, let's go." That's what they said. And I told them, the
Mm,
first thing I told them
mm.
was, and I was quite calm. Oh, seriously, I was calm. I don't even know which
Really?
spirit was posed. I don't know which spirit possessed me that time,
But
but I was
did you
very
did you
calm.
already have a relationship with God, or you were a
Yes,
Christian
yes,
then?
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. At that
okay,
time, I did.
okay.
Yes,
Mm,
so I did.
okay,
Now, I guess
okay.
that's what kind of like kept me from panicking and all. So I just like,
Yeah.
and then with the
And
medical
that's why I asked
background I
that
had,
question.
yes,
And that's
with
why
the
I asked that
medical background,
question because I was sorry. That's why I asked that question because I always say to people that when the Bible talks about peace that transcends the understanding of men, it's not about peace when things are going wrong. That's not what it's talking about. It's really
mm,
peace in the situation where you should be screaming and shouting. It's
mm,
really knowing peace in a situation when it should be chaotic, you know.
mm,
So when everything
mm,
is going as I am, like, oh yes, yes, this is peace. Yes, it's peace. But I'm saying that I believe that the peace that the Bible is talking about when it says peace that transcends, because, and that's why we've been asking you that question, that knowing peace in a situation where some people will be screaming, crying, you were calm,
mm,
you weren't panicking. Because even if you're thinking, okay, this thing might be a temporary thing, the fact that that had happened, you hadn't felt your like, can I
mm,
imagine some people's
mm.
reaction screaming, shouting, yeah, my life, and and it only comes with, that Noah, And I know that there were things that happened after all, but please go on.
So, so I think my medical background also helped, because immediately I
Okay.
realized I couldn't feel my legs. I also knew what had happened. So I just
Mm,
when the young men approached me, they told me, they just wanted to grab me by the shoulders, and and I told them no. They said okay. I told them I needed help getting up, that I couldn't feel my legs. They now asked me what they could do for me, and I told them, okay, I need at least three of you, so that they can carry me properly without
mm,
causing more damage. And so
mm,
I told them when they came, I told one of them to hold my legs. I told another one to support my waist, and then another one to hold my shoulders, just to make sure my spine was straight. And then they
mm,
helped me to where the road safety vehicle was. And the officers, now directed them. So when I got there, the officers were like, oh, they should put my back, they thought my legs were the problem. So they should put my legs on the seats, and then let me lean my back
Wow.
on the windows. And I was like, no, that I think my spine is broken. And if I do that, it may worsen it. So that my legs can actually hang out of the window, I don't care. But just make sure that I need my spine, my back to be straight. So I told them I would lie down on the seat and put my legs out. So one of them made a funny comment. He said, Madam, it is if your back break, you go fit talk. I turned and looked at I turned and looked at him. I was like, I couldn't even answer. I was in so much pain. I just ignored him because I knew he didn't know any better. So I said, okay, let me just lie down.
I was just
Let
going
me
to
just
say.
lie down. My legs can be
You
there.
know
Let
what
me
I
just lie
was
down.
just
So,
thinking?
okay, now.
So for someone that is not in the medical field, I was just thinking for someone that is not in the medical field and does not know any
Yeah,
better, they would just have carried them anyhow. I can't
it
even imagine the pain.
would have, yes. Number one, the pain would be more excruciating.
And then they would
And
have made
secondly, it
things
could have
worse.
worsened. Yes, because at that point in time, the injury is delicate. There was a fracture, and then the spinal cord was affected. So it could have caused more damage than what was already there. And so I knew that, I understood that, and I told them,
Wow.
no, I need my back to be straight. So that's how I lay in the vehicle. They took us to a clinic nearby. When we got there, the doctor came out and I explained the situation to him. I told him, this is what happened. This is what I think is going on. And this is what I need to be done. So he just called some people out to bring a stretcher. He directed them on how to lift me and transfer me to the ward. So that's what they did. They now put me on the bed. So he now went ahead to do some tests to confirm that I didn't have sensation. Used a needle, poked me all over my legs.
I
I
didn't
didn't
feel
respond. That's
anything.
when he
Wow.
confirmed that, oh, something was bad. So he just did the preliminary, examination, inserted a catheter because I wouldn't know if I needed to pee or not. So
All
he did
right.
that and then he left. And then through the night was, that was horrifying. The kind of pain I went through. I
Were you
screamed,
not giving
I
painkillers?
raved. That's if you count paracetamol as a painkiller.
No, not for that kind of you. Not for that kind of situation.
Okay. That's how bad
No,
it was.
no, for
That's how
no.
bad it was. That's the only thing they had. They were not equipped, they were not a trauma center, so they were not equipped to handle that level of trauma. So I just had to grit my teeth and endure it. How I did not bite my tongue, how I did not, I don't know, knock myself out. I wish they had even given me a sedative, it would have been better. At least I wouldn't have felt the pain. But they
Yes.
just, I just stayed there, kept screaming, and all the patients in the ward kept shouting, do, do. In fact, they forgot their own problems and they were sympathizing with me because the pain was terrible. And at that time, I didn't even know I had fractured my collarbone. I had broken my left collarbone. So that's with the pain from my spine.
Wow.
So imagine. And I didn't get, nothing could be done for me for like over 24 hours.
Wow.
So I was in that state, enduring that pain for that long. And so I continued. My mom couldn't come. I called her. Thankfully, one of the road safety officers gave me his phone. I called my mom, told her. So she couldn't come out because it was late. So she called someone new who had just relocated to Delta State, a former neighbor. And the woman now came and stayed with me the following day until she came. So my mom was able to come the evening of the following day. That's almost like 24 hours after I was brought there. And then we had to stay there until we could make arrangements for an ambulance to transport me back home. And guess what the ambulance was? A repurposed bus with the seats removed, and then a stretcher. I was lying on a stretcher, and then they put me, we borrowed a stretcher from the hospital. I was lying on that stretcher inside on the floor of the bus until we got to Calabar. So
Every
when we got
bump,
back, I felt
you
it.
felt
I
it.
felt it. Yes, I
Imagine the
felt
level of
everywhere
pain that would be.
without any painkillers, nothing to numb the pain. I had to Mhm. So me and Pain, we've had a long
Mm,
relationship.
mm.
So I had to
The
continue like that.
threshold.
We got to Calabar, and when we got back home, that was the particular period. One of the then strikes in government hospitals was like a common
Oh,
occurrence. So at that time, there was a nationwide strike of all tertiary institutions.
can you imagine?
So I got to the teaching hospital, and there was nobody to receive. They couldn't receive me because, they said any patient that was not walking into the hospital could
They
not be
can't do
attended to because
anything.
they were only offering skeletal services, so they couldn't, admit me. So somebody now directed me, redirected us to a private clinic, and the doctor rejected me. He said he wouldn't be able to handle my case. He wasn't sure if he could handle it. And at that point, I was in tears. I felt like
Wow.
I don't even know how I felt at that moment. I was like, everywhere I go, how am I going to continue in this state if I can't even get
Yes.
help? So
Ah,
while I was still in the back of that bus, lying down there in front of the clinic,
in pain.
and
No
I
painkillers,
was
just
crying.
wow.
And then, you go here, they said we can't, no, you can't come in.
Ah, mm. We can't hear you anymore. Okay, we've lost connection again. We can't hear you. Okay, we can hear you. Ah, we still can hear you. Okay, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. Yeah, it keeps going in and coming out. But at least let's continue. At least we're getting somewhere. Yeah, we can hear you. It would go. It will come back. So yes, we can hear you. Okay, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. We can hear you now. Okay. Can you hear us? We can hear you now. We can hear you now. Okay. This was how long after the wow. Yeah. So you spent 3 months in the hospital. Wow. Okay, we've lost the connection again. Okay, we lost the connection. Okay. Okay. So, Sivifi, I think I'm going to have to make the decision, maybe for us to end the session. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to end this again today. The connection is still not good. Because I know her story is very powerful and it's so painful that we cannot hear it. Um, so we're going to have to end the session. I'm really sorry. Well, we tried last week Monday. We're hoping that today will be better, but it seems as if we've still got quite bad connection. We've had so many people join, but they've had to drop off. So, just been 14 minutes. So maybe we'll give her one more time to join. What do you think? Maybe we'll try one more time and then it's really a shame because she has such a powerful, powerful story. And then I'll just wait for a few minutes to see if she can come back. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My guest has dropped off because the connection has been quite okay. Let's just try one more time. I've accepted your request. Let's see if you can join. Hello, Lola. How are you, darling? Hello, my beloved. Okay, so I was actually going to end the session.
I'm back. Let me see my camera. I'm trying to turn.
Turn your
I'm
camera
trying to.
around. Yeah.
Yes, but I keep tapping. It keeps tapping on something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
even try because I don't even know how you
Yes.
can do that in the dark without actually seeing.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you,
Yeah.
and we can even see
Network
you a
has
bit
been
better.
network has been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so let me move on now that it's a bit more stable.
Yeah.
So
Let's just see what we can do. Let me just go through a few things. So, in terms of what you have been through, so I mean, you can't go into all the details. When you were in hospital for 3 months, there were so many things they did wrong, which I'm thinking we might not be able to. Somehow will bring you back. It might not be. Maybe we'll give you a network time to settle. So for me, it was the journey of healing for you. How did you start that journey of healing? Because the journey on healing has to do with your mindset. So we're talking of you having to, restructure everything, how your life would have changed. You don't have the use of your legs anymore. And what are the things that you had to adapt? How did you change your mindset? How did you get to the stage where you're looking so beautiful, you're walking, we can see your makeup? How did you transition from that? I think that's a very big one, because some people, even just being in that state, can get them into a depressive state, and then they won't even be able to function.
yes, the talking about depression, I went through the different stages of grief
Because it's a loss,
because
isn't it? It's a loss.
yes, it is
Yeah,
a loss.
it
Yes,
is a
it's a
loss.
loss.
And we're
Usually
talking
we
about
hear grief, we think it's just about death
no,
when someone dies
no,
or you
no.
lose someone.
Yeah.
But for me, this was a huge loss. I went from having two legs, having the freedom to go where I wanted
Yeah.
and do what I wanted, to having to depend on others for everything. And when I mean everything, it was humiliating. The humiliation was on another level. Imagine having not knowing when you need to empty your bladder, when you need to empty your bowel, when you need to pee or poo, and you find yourself just your body lets go without your permission, and other people have to clean up after you. So it's like hitting ground zero. It's like hitting ground zero. I had to come to terms with that and understand that, wow, this is the new reality. We have to find a way around this. We have to find a way to live with this and make the best of it. I had a lot of embarrassing situations. Maybe you would have to go for a hospital appointment and try everything. You don't get to empty your bowl when you don't get to poo when you want to, and then you go out. Maybe you just drink water, and then everything decides to find its way out, and you're not prepared. And you're outside. You don't have anything to clean up with, and just I've actually had to sit with poop until I got home.
Wow.
It's that bad. For other people, for those who use a wheelchair, they will tell we call it our emergencies. Those emergencies, they come from you have them from time to time.
Wow.
Depending on your level of injury. I have better control now.
Okay.
Because my injury level is lower. But for those who have higher level of injury, you will have to have a more permanent solution, like maybe using diapers and things like that, because you may not be able to control. Yes. Maybe you eat something, you have to be careful how you eat. You eat the wrong thing, you can't run to the toilet because you will just soil yourself there. So you have to be careful.
Do you even want to eat when you're outside, because you never know what will be a trigger?
Yes, I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the hard way. Sometimes I would eat at home and you think you've done the needful before going out, and then you get to especially when I started work, it was hard. The first few months I struggled. There was a day I got to work. I had I managed to empty my bowl in the morning. I thought I was good for the day, and only to get to work, I took food to work and I ate. After eating, next thing I know, I had to go to the toilet. I thought I needed to pee, and I got there only to find that number 2 had appeared, and I ended up soiling my clothes. I didn't have a means of going home. I had to clean up as much as I could, and then start looking for who would take me home. My house was not far, but I needed a vehicle to take me home. And it was raining. It was raining heavily. By the time I could find someone to take me home, I had to sit in that, for a while. I felt so uncomfortable. And I was like, at that point in time, I felt so bad. I felt like, how do I have to go through this? It was in those moments that I feel like, God, why?
Exactly.
Why? Is the suffering not, is the suffering not enough? I'm trying to survive here. I'm trying to make something of myself. And do I have to cope with this as well? So it was, it was always an emotional time. And so finally, I'm this kind of person that I learned to even if you cry, it's not changing the situation. Let's see how we can solve it. When we finish solving it, we can cry. When we solve it, we will cry later. Let's just finish. Let's take care of this first. And so when I managed to get home, I had to take off all my clothes. Thankfully, my friend was around. She had come to stay with me for a while to help out. So she was the one who helped me wash everything, clean up, and then, But then
I know there was a time you mentioned that you had help, you had the support of your family, but really and truly now you live on your own.
Yes.
So how have you been able to manage that? So you live on your own, you have, your own job, you manage your own time, so you've been able to go through those stages of grief. What saw you through those stages? What support system did you have through those stages?
you know, one of the best things that happened to me was number one, you know, having a relationship with God and having come to, you know, seeing Him walk, you know, come through for me in different situations. So even though this was tougher than anything I had ever faced, I still knew that, you know, deep down, even while I was raving and ranting at him and getting mad and, you know, telling him, what's the point? Why would you allow this to happen? What have I done wrong? How do I deserve this? After all the
I
underneath
remember
all the
you even
raving and
thought
ranting,
you thought
yes,
there was a time you
I
thought
had
of.
I had suicidal thoughts, but I was too cowardly. I just know my own suicidal thoughts. No, my own was not suicide. I needed someone to assassinate me, and God was the only option. So I
Wow.
told him, you had better assassinate me because I'm not planning to kill myself. You will do it because you should have stopped this thing. I don't know why you didn't stop it. So you better take me out.
Wow.
Take me out because I don't see any future after this. I don't see myself moving on from this. So just take me out. After all, people will cry, but they will get over
They will
it and
get
they will
over
move on.
it. Wow.
And I won't have to, you know, endure this anymore. That was my prayer.
Yeah.
So after all the raving and ranting and all the tantrums, and God was just listening, you know, now once in a while I'm like, thank you for not answering that prayer.
Wow. Thank you, Lord. Wow. Thank you.
I tell
Thank
him,
you, Lord.
thank you for not answering the prayer. But because he sees beyond what we see and he knows where it's coming from. He knows my problem was not, he knew I didn't really want to die. I just
Yeah,
felt that
obviously.
way. He knew where I
Yeah,
was
because
coming
of what
from.
you were going through
He,
was
yes, he knew the
traumatic.
depth of pain.
Loss,
He knew I was
yes,
speaking
the
from a
pain.
lot of pain,
Yes.
not
And
just
even to
physical pain. He knew where it was coming from. So he knew my
mm,
problem was not, the solution was not there.
mm,
He knew that I needed to come to a place where I wanted to live. And I
mm,
actually came to that place. I came to a place where I decided, okay, since God is not going to kill us, we had better just live. So how are we going to live? It's
wow.
funny now. I
That's
can
why
laugh
I'm actually
about it,
thinking that,
but then
God is so
it
awesome
wasn't
that you can
funny.
act.
It
Yeah,
was
that's what I was
it
actually thinking,
wasn't
that God
funny.
is so awesome that you can, be, you can tell that you're laughing. There's joy. The laughter we're hearing is not fake. It's not
No,
happiness.
no,
It's
no,
joy. It's
no,
like an inner joy,
no.
and that's just what's just,
Yes.
so special and so amazing. What has caused that joy? What makes you just still be able to get up every morning? We haven't even talked about things like, there's still things like, because you are constantly sitting on your backside, you might have, is it pan sore? What did you call
Pressure
it? You
sore.
share that with
Pressure
pressure
sore.
sore, so that's
Yes.
another thing because you're constantly on that. So it's not as if things are just on kidori, everything is focused in there. I'm sure there's still pain, there's
No,
still
no, 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 no,
discomfort,
no.
you know.
No, it's not. It's like it's like going on a ferry wheel, a
Mm,
Ferris wheel. You have the ups, the downs.
yeah.
There are moments when you're joyful and you're screaming, yee, whoopee,
Mm,
and then there are moments when you're like, ah, stop. So
yeah.
that's how it is.
Imagine.
But I believe that over time, my relationship with God has grown to the point where I know that, even when it's rough,
Mm,
it's not because He has walked away.
mm,
It's not because He has walked away. Many times God has reminded me that even in those dark moments when
mm.
it seems like, I'm shouting, I'm crying, I'm asking for help, and nothing is happening, that He's there.
Is
He has
there? Wow.
assured me of that time and again.
Mm,
And sometimes, the problem is we're so busy screaming, we don't hear when He's telling us what to
mm.
do.
It's
That's
so
what I came
important.
to. That's
That
what I
is
came to find. That's
so
what I've come to
important.
know. That,
We're not
I'm so
tuned
busy
in.
feeling sorry for myself. I'm too busy
Mm.
having a pity party. I can't hear when He's
That's
delivering the answer. He's telling me, do this.
Mm,
So now, when I find myself in those situations, I've matured to the point where I find myself in those situations, I stop and ask, what do I need to do? There is a solution to this. I just don't know it yet. So what is it? Holy Spirit, tell me. And I will just get something, I will hear something, and once I try it, I find that it works.
Wow.
I just needed to be still and listen. Because
I know you
crying
mentioned
does not solve problems.
That's so important. You know, it's almost like you have a process or model when you're feeling, when you're in that state of being down, of just, encouraging and empowering yourself, to look at how you can get out of it. It's really about emotional, managing your emotions, isn't it? That's
Yes.
so powerful. So what are the things that have helped you? I think I asked that question, but then another question came up. So aside, your faith, do you have a network? Because you talked about a network of people that you support each other. Do you have friends that were with you?
Yes, yes,
Have you
yes,
done
yes.
therapy or coaching? What are those things that have helped you along the way?
Yes, I've not, especially in the early stages, when this journey began, I couldn't afford a lot of things, and I never got therapy. I was too focused on surviving and just having access to the basics. So
Yeah.
that basic at that point in time, it was just me and God, because everybody, you come to a point where even family can be a hindrance. Those
Yeah.
who try to help can be a hindrance because they are solely focused on things going back to how it
Yeah.
used to be. They are so focused on, recovering the past, while you are focused on trying to salvage the future.
Yeah. And
So that's
get
the
on with
problem.
life.
I was So it came to a point that, we were going in different directions. We're thinking in different directions. Everybody was like, oh, let's go here. You will get up and walk. Everybody that wants to pray for you, you get up and walk. Get up and walk. All manner of things. Try this, try that. At some point, I had to put my foot down. I dug the non-functioning feet. I dug them in and I said, I am not moving. They say, hey,
Wow.
you're too stubborn. Every time they are trying to help you, you're not cooperating. Kini come, kini. I said, calm down now. That this thing, me, I know it's me and God. Though. I have beef with him. So let him tell me he cannot do anything. Then me, I will leave him and follow you. But as long as he is still able to do something, I will wait for him. It's me and him
Hallelujah.
in this thing. So
Hallelujah.
that was just what kept me. I was stubborn about waiting for God. I was not
Yeah.
willing to go and start trying this one. In fact, I tried enough. I was tired. I said, I beg, leave me. And so, like I mentioned, the one very key person that helped me at that early stage was my friend. And I think, I don't know if she's still here, Frecky.
She was on
She had,
before.
okay, she had the accident. She was also in an accident 2 years before mine happened. And she's also on a wheelchair. And, she was the one that was like, whenever I would have problems, complications, and I didn't understand what was happening to my body, I would just reach out and like, see you, I don't know what's happening. This is how I feel. This is what's happening. And she would quickly, either call me back, would spend time on the phone talking and explaining things to me. She would send me, download things from the internet and send to me just to help me cope. So that that was like one of
The
a
push
major support
to
for
go.
me at that time, because without that, I wouldn't have understood what was happening. I had no idea. I didn't have access to the internet, so I couldn't even say, no, let me just go and browse and see, hey, he's pinching me here. What does
What
pinching
does that
mean?
mean?
I didn't have access to the internet.
Were
I
you given
didn't.
anything from the hospital?
No. Once I left the hospital, my business with them had concluded. I had to go in for checkup in a different. That by then the teaching hospitals had resumed work, so I had to start going back. I had to go in for checkup with a neurologist so that I could, because I was having the catheter I was using. I started having infection. I had issues with it. I would have all infections like It was regular. So when I met with the consultant, he said I needed to change it. I needed to use a different type. And the different type he talked about was not available in Nigeria.
Wow.
Still not available in Nigeria till now. So I only get
Really?
it from outside the country with the help of friends, because the way that dollar is dollarizing, this baby girl cannot try it. So, and you know how merciful God has been ever since. It's almost 20 years now since it happened. Next year, I think, yeah, 2005 till now. Next year we'll make it 20 years. And since then, I have not bought a single catheter. The current one I'm using, I've not bought a single one with my money. God has always raised people who have taken it upon themselves to, help me in that area. And I'm forever grateful to them. That has been God's mercy, because there's no how I could have afforded that and then afforded everything else, because disability is
because it's still
expensive.
constant,
Disability is expensive. It is. It's like an exotic lifestyle. It's expensive to maintain.
Wow.
It may seem like, you're not going anywhere, you're not doing that. For me to leave my house, at least somebody can jump inside keke, pay 15 naira, go somewhere. Me, I will have to get a taxi, and I'm paying like 2-3K. So imagine that. So it's restrictive, and but I've learned to not look at that.
And do
good thing is that I
what is
enjoy my own
required.
company. In fact, it made me enjoy my own company. So I love my own company. Me and myself, we will stay inside the house and take care of ourselves. That's what we do.
I
Unless we
remember you saying that you
absolutely need to
didn't.
go out.
I think I remember you saying that you didn't go out for. Was it for like 2
Yes,
years or
I
something?
was home for 6. Okay, you mean when? Okay,
The
before.
initial years after,
Yes. I didn't go out for about a year.
Okay.
For about a year, I was home. Once I
Okay.
came back from the hospital, I was home all day, always indoors. It was
Okay,
later on I began to step out a bit
can you
on the
imagine all
veranda.
the state of one's mental health in that kind of situation
Yes,
where you're also going through so much?
it has to be really. It can make you. You know that saying that you're literally climbing up walls. That's how it feels
Yes.
like. It
Yes.
feels like it's very. In fact, I know for a fact now. I think maybe that's one of the things that has kind of made me develop claustrophobia. I don't
Right.
like closed
Yes.
spaces. I don't like closed
Mm.
spaces. I
Mm.
like wide open spaces where I can see ahead of me. Recently, I had an incident. Sometime, was it last year or no? I think early this year. I had to go for an MRI. I had never
Yes.
done one since the
Because
accident. I had never
they
had
check
one done
you.
since the accident.
Yeah.
So I went for an MRI,
Mm.
paid plenty money. So they took
Yes.
me
Can
into the
imagine.
room, strapped me in on the the gurney that would roll in,
Yeah.
strapped me on it, and they put something, the plate that would actually read like the film. They strapped my hands, and then when they now rolled me into the machine itself,
Mm.
I suddenly felt like I had this feeling like I
Like a
was being
panic.
buried alive.
Wow.
I felt like I was being buried alive. I panicked.
Mm.
I couldn't
Mm.
breathe. I told them to bring me out. I
Mm.
started shouting.
Yeah.
So they
Panic.
rolled me out again. And just the fact that they strapped me down, it felt like, my mind, so many things went through my head. I literally felt like I was being buried alive, like, I was attacked. So I had to come out. I told them to play music they told me they could play music. I told them, okay. I got my phone, told them to play music.
To
I
get
had to
into
stay
the
there, do
right
some breathing.
space.
I had to breathe for it, do some breathing. They told me it's in your mind. I said,
Exercise.
you people are not telling me what I don't know. I know it's in my mind. I know it's in my
Exactly.
head. But it doesn't stop the fact that it's affecting me out. It's coming out of my head. That's my reality. So don't tell me it's in my head. I know. So they I said, people should leave me. Let me see how I can deal with this thing. That this
Mm.
money I paid is not going to waste.
Mm.
You don't
Mm.
I cannot, I paid almost 150K and I will just get up and go say, because of what we will do this thing. So I started doing some deep breathing. Then I now told them, okay, let's go back inside. And unfortunately, the device they have for alerting the radiologists if there's any issue had gone bad.
Oh, wow.
Their machine had just been fixed. And you can imagine, I'm already having images in my head. My head is displaying something. And then when they rolled me in, I kept my eyes shut because the machine was just a little above my face. So I felt like I was in a coffin.
Yes, it's very close.
I,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a coffin. And I just lay there, closed my eyes. And the only thing that saw me through that, I started speaking in tongues. For the 30 minutes I was in there, I was speaking in tongues. My throat was dry. Every time I felt like it was constricting, I couldn't swallow, I would continue. I kept at it for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And the machine was making funny sounds, like something, they were drumming on it.
Broken. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Like 3 different types of sounds. Either it's sounding like a fire alarm, then it will go to like masquerade drumming, like it was
I actually didn't
horrifying.
know that when you're going for an MRI, you're staying for that long. I actually thought it was a quick
They
in
said
and out. I didn't
25, they
realize
told me
about 30
25. Yes, you
minutes.
can. Yes, you stay for that long. Actually, I looked it up online and they said some can be as long as 1 hour.
Wow.
And that claustrophobia is actually, it's many patients,
They
experience it, that
would
there's always
because
the option.
yeah,
Oh, no.
they would because
It's
it's
not funny.
just
I
like,
told
yeah, it's
myself I
not
would
good.
never go through that again. And that if
Mm.
at all I needed to go through it, they would have to sedate me. I will not go in with
Mm.
my eyes open.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
sleep. I don't want to be aware. It was that bad. So I
Because that's
think,
an option.
that's one of the things that I've had to face. And then, some other traumatic experiences actually, contributed to that. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of, I even had a panic attack once in the middle of the night. So it's, there was time I was really sensitive to sound because I had a traumatic robbery incident.
Wow.
So it was really bad. So whenever I would hear loud sounds, I didn't sleep well at night. This was coupled with during after the accident when I was home alone. I hardly used to sleep until daybreak. Most times I would stay awake through the night listening to the radio, or then I didn't have there was no camera phone to go online. So I would my radio was always by my side. I would tune into BBC since they had 24-hour service. I would be listening to that till when it was almost daybreak, I would fall asleep. I was like, there was this fear of darkness. I was afraid that if I closed my eyes while it was dark, something would happen. It was bad.
Wow.
It was bad. And you think
Yeah.
you've overcome those things, and later they just creep up on you. Like what happened recently, they just creep up on you.
Like you was saying that, speaking in tongues has helped you. And yeah, just as we begin to round up, because the depth of your story, in fact, one session doesn't really do it any justice. So one of the things you said was you had supports, and I know now you're part of a team that helps other people that have been through what you do. Can you just share just a bit with that for us as we round up? Because I'm conscious it's past 9 o'clock, so we can round up.
Okay. So over time, I've come across communities that have, helped me develop more self-awareness. Like when I joined the Beef Transform Tribe on Clubhouse, and I, started listening to some of the discussions there. It made me begin to think differently. And that connected me to other communities that, have helped me, with my mental state. I began to be more aware of what was happening in my mind and how to take control and begin to do things differently. So that has really helped me, or else I wouldn't be able to be on my own right now. Because most times, most of the battle, when you hear battlefield of the mind,
it is the battlefield of the mind.
The mind is a real battlefield. Most times,
Definitely.
everything, and I'm this kind of person that tends to internalize things. So most times it gets too much. It becomes too much, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. So I've come to the point where I'm able to recognize when, those thoughts begin, where I can easily identify them when they start. And I'm like, hey, hold on. Where are we going with this? Why are we going in this way? I've come to that point where I'm able to recognize that. And, with, after joining GDP and all that, learning, my spiritual life has also taken off. I'm more confident now as, a Christian, a believer. Most of the things that I struggled with for years, I've been a believer for years, but it's until I joined GDP that so many things, it was like a light, light suddenly, the veil was lifted. So many things that the church made it seem like, they made, religion made it seem like, oh, it's a big deal. You need to I came to the realization that no, this is not it. And I came to realize that God had been reaching out, but I just didn't know how. I couldn't recognize he was doing so. I didn't know how to, I wasn't taught how to recognize his voice. I wasn't taught how to, connect. I wasn't taught how to tune in and,
it's having a
but now I
relationship,
can,
isn't it?
before now, when I used to hear people say, God said, God told me, I was like, all of you just be forming things there. I was beefing them. God, can't you be telling me things? What is it? Why am I hearing other people say? But now I'm the one telling people that, I was, something happened and God said, and when I say it inside my head, I'm laughing. I'm like, Shebi, you have joined them now.
Oh, thank you, Lord. It's really about
So,
intimacy with God, and
no, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. When you
well,
know
God,
that, it's not something you have to go somewhere for, or it's not, you don't have to jump through hoops. It's very simple. You just have to be available. That's all.
yes, and be tuned
That's what
in.
people don't know.
We complicate God, isn't it? Whilst He's just there waiting for
That's
us. He's
it.
always been there waiting for us. He's a
That's
father that
it.
loves. And thank God for the various platforms you said are supported you. And I know that you are part of a community where you meet regularly and support women also who are I don't know if it's just women who are in wheelchair or just people that are
No,
in
women
wheelchair. How
with
disabilities,
disabilities,
women with
regardless of their
disabilities.
disability.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay. I mean, thank God for your life for doing that. That you're still on your recovery journey, and we all. But you've then also used that to reach out to other people, and I know that one of the ladies that was here um support your story. Thank you for all the comments. We started getting comments. What a beautiful, strong woman. I totally agree. We're talking about the man mind. Thank you for sharing your story. Well, I still believe, maybe it might not be now, but we're definitely going to bring you back. Maybe later on in the year, hopefully, and the network has now settled. I still
let's
believe
hope
that. I still believe that your story needs.
let's hope they improve.
Yeah, your story needs to be heard, and we probably will do it in two sessions, maybe later on in the year. Because normally we have a very good number of people, but I know because of last week and then this week, the network, people have dropped
Cancellation,
off.
yes.
Yeah. Because we would normally have, quite a lot of people, especially with your story. Your story is so powerful. And I also want to also use it to raise awareness for your community and what they do. So that's why I'm quite keen to actually bring you back, so that we can look at how we can support. But for today, we're just going to round up now. Thank you so much, Fifi, for sharing your story. Thank you for being
Thank you
so
for
brave. Thank you
having me.
for making God real to people. Thank you for
Mm.
for we thank God for not giving up on you, because I know that there was a
Oh,
time
yes.
you gave up on God. But God is so faithful and He's so merciful, and He
No,
doesn't
he
give up.
never does. We are the ones who walk
Yeah,
away. We are the ones
we're
who
the ones
walk
that
away.
and
He never leaves.
unless one has been in your shoes, it's easier to just stand there and say, but if you haven't been in someone's shoes, you
Yes.
don't really
No,
think that.
I've seen people give up. I've seen people
Yeah.
who have the best of care. There was somebody who had an accident, got surgery immediately after, something I never did. Got surgery immediately after, the best of care. but he died. And somebody even asked me to come and see him, just to talk to him and see if I could encourage him. But only when I asked if I could visit, because he was unconscious. When he regained consciousness and I asked if I could visit, she said that the guy was really depressed. He was in his 50s, had adult children, and said that how was he going to live life like that at this age? And that's how the guy just gave up.
Yeah.
He got the best medical care. He was responding, but he had given up his
Yeah.
mind. I say,
If it's mind,
when you give up on yourself,
there's
that's it.
nothing anybody can do.
He had given
There's
he
absolutely
There's nothing.
nothing
All the others were
anybody
just
can do.
activity.
Yeah. I remember
He
someone
gave
was
up. Next thing
sharing
I
a
heard, he had
story.
died.
Uh-huh. Someone was sharing a story. That's so true. Someone was sharing a story about cancer patients that the doctor said that it can always tell a patient who is going to leave and a patient because people's reaction once they tell them they've got cancer. Some people, you can see that determination, I'm going to fight this, and those people usually will survive. Immediately, you can see some people that are so fearful, and then they've already given up even before anything else started, and they usually do not survive. you know so just pray that God will help us to have the right frame of mind, and it's all about truly knowing God and having that relationship with him and experiencing
Mm,
intimacy. Like you said, it's knowing God ourselves and not knowing God as from other people's knowledge. Our mindset, being in the right
mm,
community. You've talked about transform tribe. Having the right mindset, having places where they help you with tools. How you can reprogram your mind, how you can
mm,
use visualization and your subconscious mind. More than your conscious mind. Being in those communities is so important. Going to GDP where you hear the raw word of God, where it just transforms how you. At times I
yeah,
say, some most of us are just Sadducees and Pharisees. We don't really have an idea. Religion
at
has
all.
taken over.
Mm,
We've forgotten about
mm.
relationship. And as long as we do not experience that relationship, we will not have the full experience that God desires for us to have with Him. So we're going to round up there. Thank you for those who stayed right to the end, even though
Thank
we've had issues with our
you.
network. Thank you so much, Stephanie. God bless you. And yeah,
And
we're
God
going to
bless
leave.
you too. Thank you
Thank
for what you're doing too.
Thank you. We're gonna leave this on, so I believe that people will still watch and they'll be blessed. So yeah, thank you, and have a lovely
Thank
evening, everyone.
you so
See
much.
you at the
Thank
end
you,
of next
everyone.
month. Okay. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye. Good night.
Thank you for sharing your story. Yes, your story is
Thank
inspiring. More
you.
grace. Yeah, what a beautiful strong woman. Yeah, so we have had comments. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.